From Vermont Public, this is The Frequency. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. It's Tuesday, October 21st, and here are today's headlines. State Senator Sam Douglas's resignation went into effect yesterday. The Republican state senator from Troy participated in a racist, misogynist, and anti-Semitic group chat that was leaked to Politico last week. Paul Dame is the chair of the Vermont Republican Party, and he spoke on Vermont Edition yesterday. He says it was appropriate Douglas apologized for being in the chat, but Dame stopped short of agreeing with the resignation.
He is committed to the issues that he was working for and that we've been working for in the state Senate. And he didn't want to get in the way of moving forward on affordability, better housing options, and public safety. And he felt like it was going to be hard for him to be effective moving forward. And that's part of the reason that he resigned.
Governor Phil Scott will appoint a new person to represent Orleans County in the coming weeks. And we will have more on the toxic nature of the nation's current politics affecting Vermont following these headlines. Two environmental nonprofits are threatening to sue a Panton farm. They accuse the farm of violating the Federal Clean Water Act. The Conservation Law Foundation and Vermont Natural Resources Council say they tested water flowing from the Vorsteveld farm's tile drains into Dead Creek, and they found pesticides. The nonprofits say the farm needs a permit to discharge them, and they're calling on regulators to intervene. Julie Moore is Vermont's Secretary of Natural Resources. She says agency scientists are reviewing evidence, and Moore says federal regulators may also dictate how to proceed.
I anticipate that EPA would have a leading role in reviewing this complaint and determining what the most appropriate next steps are.
The farm has been the subject of water quality complaints in the past, but it won a successful bid to expand its operations earlier this year. The farmers did not respond to requests for comment. Dartmouth College has rejected a compact with the Trump administration. School leadership says the institution will not trade academic freedom for preferential access to federal funding. Dartmouth President Sion Bylock says in a statement she does not believe the government should be involved in the school's policy decisions. Dartmouth was one of 9 colleges and universities the Trump administration asked to sign the agreement. It offered schools preferential access to federal funding in exchange for adopting several administration policies related to gender and race. Nearly 500 Dartmouth faculty and graduate students signed a petition urging Bylock to reject the compact. Bylock says she remains open to finding other ways to work with the federal government to, quote, enhance higher education. And the pressure Trump is applying to colleges and universities across the country is among the reasons several thousand Vermonters flooded downtown streets and village greens across the state this past Saturday. The demonstrations were part of the latest wave of nationwide protests against President Donald Trump. If you missed the coverage over the weekend, we have a photo gallery featuring many of the demonstrations held in about 50 locations across the state, and you can find it on our webpage at vermontpublic.org. Online sports betting in Vermont surged 50% in September compared to the month before. The state's latest report shows roughly 8,500 Vermonters each placed around 73 bets in September. The average bet was about $23. Lottery Commissioner Wendy Knight says the return of college and professional football is fueling the increase.
So the NFL season and the games and the excitement and the players, that contributes to people watching more and then betting on the NFL.
Knight says despite the surge, the state actually received less tax money in September. That's because the revenue is linked to winning payouts. And last month, she says, the bettors did pretty well. Knight says the state received roughly $460,000 in sports betting revenue in September. Coming up, how the fractious and bitter nature of our national political discourse is showing up and having a negative effect on local government as well. That's after this. Vermont's form of local participatory government demands open access to our local officials. It's in our town offices and open meetings where we debate each other, question our government officials, and hopefully move forward peacefully. But the poisonous political discourse in this country is too often showing up even in our smallest towns, and it threatens open access to our elected leaders. Vermont Public's Howard Weiss-Tisman has more.
Hi.
Hello there.
Hi.
I'm here to see Tony.
Yes, come on in, please.
Hi there.
You have to make an appointment to get into the Stratford town offices. The front door of the more than century-old building in this Upper Valley town has been locked for a few months now, after a town resident allegedly threatened some town employees.
And Regina is in there, assistant town clerk
Hi there.
and treasurer. These are the people we're protecting.
Like a lot of small towns in Vermont, the town office is the nerve center of activity in Stratford. It's where locals come to pay their taxes and visitors pop in to seek out their family records. So Stratford Select Board Chair Tony Pippi says it's not great to have a deadbolt latching the door shut during the day.
Believe me, it was hard to say that this office has to close and you can only come in by appointment, okay? Because this place, it was an open door. Anybody could walk in, even just to say hi.
The front door's been locked since August, after a Stratford resident sent more than 200 emails and was eventually arrested for violating a protection order that was taken out by the town clerk. Pippi said the clerk and her assistant, two women who are alone in a small office, did not feel safe before the door was locked. And so along with all of the day-to-day business the town clerk is supposed to handle, Pippi says she fears Stratford is also now contending with the same polarizing discourse that's tearing apart our country.
We see it all the time. I can't. You see, like, the churches, people being murdered in. You see where at protests, people are getting run over. Is this what we need to get people to really stop? And so far, there's been so much of that, and it still hasn't stopped.
Every year, Vermont Secretary of State Sarah Copeland-Hansis hosts a statewide meeting to support town clerks. There are usually discussions about things like digitizing town documents or how to comply with the open records law. Last year, Copeland-Hansis said, for the first time, as far as she knows, her office brought in a mental health expert to teach the clerks how to best deal with someone who's threatening violence.
I think it's pretty clear that it's getting worse.
Last month, city leaders in Burlington sent out a plea for people to tone down the, quote, harmful and sometimes threatening messages that have been directed toward elected officials. And Governor Phil Scott recently asked municipal officials to recognize the roles they play in tamping down the anger showing up in town offices across the state. Last year, the legislature passed a bill that includes provisions on when select boards can remove someone from a meeting. Addison County Senator Ruth Hardy introduced the bill, and she says it's very difficult to try to get down in statute who can remove someone from a public space and when for just speaking their mind.
I think we need to, as a society, be able to have public buildings that are open to the public. And we also have to keep our public officials safe.
ACLU Vermont has represented a number of people who were removed from meetings or public spaces. Leah Ernst is legal director of ACLU Vermont. She says towns should set clear policies before an incident erupts.
People in entering these town offices, they're exercising their right to petition the government. They might be exercising their statutory or constitutional rights to hold government accountable by seeking records. Also, it's just a matter of it being inconvenient and uninviting. And so I would encourage towns to think carefully and hard about whether this type of response is an overbroad response to a specific problem.
But Stratford isn't alone. The Rutland County town of Mendon has been struggling with the resident who town officials say threatened them with violence. Their town office was also locked for a while and only opened by appointment. Town clerk Jesse Bridge said last year they used some of the federal COVID relief money to install a teller's window in the town office vestibule.
It was weird at first, but I like it. It's safe. I mean, it's, people can still come in. They just see us through a window. Yeah.
Bridge said it's the new normal, and she's getting used to it. Howard Weiss-Tisman, Vermont Public.
Thanks for listening to The Frequency today. We had additional reporting from Michaela Lafrac. Abigail Giles, the New England News Collaborative, and Bob Kinzel. Today's episode was edited by Stephanie Colombini, and our music is by Blue Dot Sessions. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. Talk to you tomorrow.